I'm sure you can relate. As a fan of the horror genre ranging from films and games, I've noticed something recently with horror games and wanted to give my thoughts on it that you may agree with. Enjoy the video. Welcome back. I'm sure you've heard of one of these games. But the new ones just feel boring, right? They don't have the same atmosphere or the same fright as before. Have you ever asked the same question, why are these games not scary anymore? But first, we have to look back. What made horror games horrifying? It might have been the world of the unknown since 2007 when creepypastas first began. Now I'm sure you know what creepypastas are. Jeff the Killer, Squidward's episode, 666 YouTube user, Slenderman. 2009. That's where I believe it all first began. Right now Slenderman is slowly falling down to obscurity, but in 2012 it was all over the media. That's when the first Slenderman game came out. Slenderman the 8 Pages. Now this was already covered many times, that the atmosphere is what made the game stand out and that it was the first creepypasta game basically. But I wanted to give the spotlight to a different game that made use of the atmosphere.
Whoa, he's coming at me.
This game nailed the atmosphere in the early 2000s. You were all alone, exploring a mansion, trying to figure out what happened, whilst a game about immersion, discovery and living through a nightmare. The story was pretty original and great for its time. You, the player, have erased your memory to escape a shadow hunting him, revealing to be a malevolent force. This gained especially a lot of popularity when the engine allowed you to create mods, which gave the game even more attention, thanks to YouTubers like PewDiePie and Markiplier covering it. The game was made by Frictional Games, which have also made other amazing games, Penumbra and Sombra, and most recently, Amnesia: The Bunker.
Chapter 2: Jump Scare.
So what exactly are jump scares? According to Wikipedia, a jump scare is a scaring technique used in media intended to scare the viewer by surprising them with a creepy face or object, usually accompanied by a loud scream. I jumped deeply into what jump scares are, but if you played a horror game, you already know what they are and how they work. The problem is that most of the time it's overdone. Sure, it does work, but instead of leaving you scared, it just annoys you or gets a chuckle out of you, or sometimes is even obnoxious. Sure, sometimes it does leave you petrified, but are horror games really just about jump scares? If you look at Spooky's jumpscare mention, they took the whole BNG jumpscare cliche and pretty much played around it. Sure, it gets you, but it's all cute and silly until you actually get into the game. The whole atmosphere changes. And that's one of my next points as to why jump scares don't make horror games horrifying. So what's the problem with modern games? The atmosphere. Some games do it right, like as our previous example Amnesia, but also the first Five Nights at Freddy's, Visage, or some of the recent analog horror videos. Now, analog horror has become a cliche really quick. Take a picture of an innocent looking person, then just put a void in their face and some freaky looking eyes. They also do touch on Christianity a bit, so it gives them the shock value, I suppose, but some people give it a nice twist. My favorite is Gemini Home Entertainment, as it has deep lore. But I quickly wanted to go back to Amnesia again, because with the newest Amnesia, they have nailed it. You're basically in a World War I bunker, have a flashlight you have to crank to see, and guess what? The monster hears the cranking. But they also play in the comfort of giving you a gun, with one bullet. And you can't stay in the dark for too long. But nowadays, I feel like a lot of games, they take the creepy sound ambient and slap it on the game. It does the job, but it's not the game that creeps me out most of the time, it's just the sound. It's like taking a creepy video and putting some YouTube vlog music over it.
Wow, incredible.
I feel like this is one crucial thing developers and people alike are missing, the sound design. Sometimes it's easy, like analog horror. The most common example is the backrooms, especially Kane Pixel's animation. But my favorite example for sound design is the boiled one. More specifically, Now, if you've never seen or heard about analog horror or about the bold one, in short, hearing this sound meant you were already dead. But that also brings me to another reason why horror games are starting to get boring and stale. They don't put meaning behind their sounds. Each sound I am about to play has a meaning behind it. And that's what makes them creepy and stand out. I think that's where most people lack. They don't focus much on sound design. I don't think you really need an insane budget to make sound, just take some from free libraries. You preferably want ASMR sounds and give them a meaning behind it. If I am playing a game and I feel like someone is breathing down my left ear, I will probably get chills, especially if I know it means something. I mean, can you imagine a monster you cannot look at, breathing down your neck, and you can't really do anything about it but wait? Once you see it from the corner of your eye? I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but sound design. This is what most newer horror games lack. But honorable mention to PT though, they instead played into silence. Here's a hot take. New horror games are made just for clips and not actual atmosphere. Most horror games like this feel disposable. One example is In Silence. The devs promised and promised to make updates after Markiplier covered it, and as the game name suggests, they went silent. But all of these breed one thing, and that's comfort from the things you are supposed to be scared of. They show you the monster you should have been scared of right at the start. And then when they're supposed to be creepy, they're just in the way being obnoxious. If I had to compare two polar opposites, Resident Evil and Poppy Playtime. One is building about tension and making you worried and anxious, the other is trying to get rich off brand deals and plushies. Now, that might have been far-fetched, but that's what it feels like that this is all about. But psychological horror is king. You want your players to think something's going to happen, you want the game to be random but not fully random. Like, I always imagined there would be a game where you have 3 random jump scares, one building up to scare you, but the other one just builds up to nothing. There might be something like that, and you might know this game, so let me know, cause I'd love to play it. Now, I want to get into the most recent and most popular example, Repo. I'm sure you've seen or heard of the game, either through clips or through that damn weird game cover. But I wanted to talk about it because me and my friend have been talking about something new happening in the whole horror space. Some call it friend swap, he calls it fun horror, which I think sounds more correct. Because friend swap feels like the game was made as a cash grab or a slop, but Repo feels more grounded. It's scary at first, but then you're just having fun with your friends or are speedrunning to see how far you can get. But you don't get scared after a couple of runs, and you know what to expect. They don't force the horror a lot, and they're just trying to entertain you and get a laugh out of you. So maybe with all of this, there could be a new subgenre made specifically for games like Repo, Lethal Company and Content Warning. Games like this aren't supposed to be scary in the first place, most of the time. Another reason why I'm mentioning this new genre is that there has been a rise of games like Exit 8 or I'm on Observation Duty, where your goal is to find differences, but I think that genre is going to get obscure in a bit. To summarize for the people that skipped the video just to hear me say why horror games suck, I recommend you go to this timestamp. But for the rest who stayed, you are precious and I like you. We talk about how horror games start with people putting some insane lore in their games and meaning behind everything you can see, hear and touch in the game, to just wanting to get some money from crappy jump scares and some scary ambience.mp3. It's the lack of building up tension, the cliche press shift to run to evoke fake fear.
Right. Hold shift to run? Why?
The lack of personality and identity. Or it might all just be nostalgia. Maybe horror is still scary, or maybe it has become a genre that requires some kind of insane creativity. I know that not everyone will agree with my opinion, some people are easily scared than others, but I believe that after some exposure therapy, you'll start to see what I'm trying to get at. Leave a comment if you have a different take. But that's all from me. I know this is a completely different video, but as a fan of horror, I wanted to throw my 2 cents in the genre. Anyway, subscribe.